make you nervous. A tragedy, I'm a beautiful disaster. A reckoning, you wonder how I got this way.
Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom. Hi, guys. Oh my God. I was crying my heart out. And then I realized something, you guys. I've had a breakthrough in my own case. Oh my God. But I think I'm going to probably be forced to do it on appeal because, you know, I'm not convinced that the court on the first instance will rule in my favor. And I would say also that, there were some issues with my brief in retrospect. I'm not going to tell you what they were because I'm not giving them any ideas just in case anybody found my YouTube channel, God forbid, and has been listening. But I know where I could have been stronger with my brief, and I certainly will be very strong on appeal if necessary, if necessary. But so I was crying, and then I then my dad came to me, my father came to me because my father was not a lawyer, he never understood that he was a lawyer. Like he's just a natural born lawyer, but he never formalized it by going to law school. So we always had these very sort of legal discussions, which eventually always ended up with me just like walking away because he was so tough with his arguments and so he would manhandle me if necessary to win, which I didn't like that at all. And I'm sure that now that he has passed, he regrets, he could be heavy-handed with that. But if he had ever gone to law school, my father would have been a formidable lawyer.
Magnifique.
Anyway,
Oui.
I'm a lawyer, but I'm a girl, so I'm weak and I'm like, I cry and yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm crying. And then my father comes to me in a thought. And he says to me, "You're barking up the wrong tree." I'm like, "What do you mean by that, Papa?" He says to me, "It's not that your grandmother was French, it's that your father was French." I'm like, "Dad, you were not French. You were born in the British Caribbean." He's like, "No, no, no." This is all in my head. He's like, "Go back to French law. It is a fact that according to French law, the child of a French citizen is French. He's French at birth, right? However, at 18, according to an 1804 law or something like that, if he doesn't formally acknowledge his French citizenship or nationality, he loses his French nationality." So I'm like, "Well, Dad, you're not French." He's like, "That's a technical point that you have to tell the court. I never said I was not French. I never expressly gave up being French. I never renounced being French. I never didn't want to be French. I didn't even know that I had to put in bureaucratic paperwork to say, yes, I'm French. It's not a driver's license. I didn't know that my identity expires. I was 18 in 1963. How was I supposed to know that my nationality and my identity expires according to some ridiculous bureaucratic red tape that happens to be sitting in some obscure book somewhere? My mother was French. This is my father. And according to French law, I was French. I am French. I'm dead, but I'm French. You guys. And what does that mean, my daughter? Says my father from his grave. If I was French, you are French. And you need to go to those courts, whether you have to go all the way to the European Court of Human Rights. And you let them know that Joe Louis said that he was French. Therefore, his daughter is French. And that is according to existing French law. And no technical point, no administrative technicality takes away my natural born identity at birth. I had birthright citizenship to Frenchness. And so do you, and so do all of my children. Oh my goodness gracious. you guys, you guys, this is not even nearly over. So I was like crying, and then there was Dad. He's like, "You're barking up the wrong tree." It's not that your grandmother was French. It's that your father was French. And according to French law, the child of a French citizen is French. I have been French all along. I don't need them to convey Frenchness to me. My father never renounced his Frenchness. The fact that they have a bureaucratic red tape that says, oh, at 18, it's like a driver's license. Your nationality is like a driver's license. If you don't renew it, it expires. Your nationality cannot expire unless you expressly renounce it, unless you had the intent to renounce it. And he never ever had the intent to renounce it. So reinstate it, France. Because if you don't, you take away my identity, and I'm not having it. Tu comprends ça ou quoi, tout le monde? I'm not having it. I want my French nationality.
I make you nervous, a tragedy, I'm a beautiful disaster, a reckoning, you wonder how I got this way.